but don't leave just yet. Pardon the face scratching. My name's Madzie 2000, and today I'm presenting to you from Pastel Phantom's parents' shed. That is hers and my stuff behind us, and all in front of me. This is resting on a plastic box, which is so much fun. So, this is technically day one of a 12-day series that I've decided to call Madzie 2000's 12 Days of Christmas. Pretty self explanatory, right? Well, it's not going to be, and I'm just going to start reading this list out that's on my fancy little clipboard because it's a bit eclectic in its methodology, but it is supposed to go from sort of the least Christmassy thing I could think of down to something that is probably very Christmassy in most people's minds. And it's also kind of to talk a bit about different beliefs as well that surround Christmas. And kind of a bit of an excuse to give me a kick in the backside to get a few projects done, one of which is sitting in my lap. So first up, of course, is this explanation. Done. Easy. All I had to do was sit in a shed and record myself talking for, 20 minutes? I already did a 20-minute recording. I didn't do very well. So I just went again. Madzie, again. Second, we'll be discussing sigil witchery and Wicca. So that's going to be very interesting because I know religious people are immediately going to click off the video and go, ew, you're a witch. Ugh. It's a lot more complicated than I'm a witch. But I am classified as a witch, particularly a Wiccan, and technically pagan as well. But I prefer the title of a pagan witch. I think pagan witch suits me better. So basically in that I'm going to talk about the myths, misconceptions, and why I've chosen to begin practicing Wicca. Someone showing people how to make sigils. And I was like, wow, that looks like lots of fun. And I made two sigils. One for Pastel's brother. I think on Twitch he is Color Void. And I made one for myself to sort of not keep track of time, but to time manage, because I have a very terrible gauge of time because I have, do it for this way, I have dyscalculia, which basically means I'm math dyslexic. I feel like I've been recording for 5 minutes. I've only been recording for, 3:27. That's that's a pretty big gap to me to be like, wow, 2 whole minutes. I also once, maybe it is here. Yes, it is. It actually is. So this is my university timetable. I wasn't even looking at the right day, but here's one class at 9. I had another class. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. 10 to 12. Okay, so it was 10 to 12. So I was like, oh, I've only got an hour between these two classes. 10 take 12. That's 2 hours. I forgot the number 11 existed. How do you forget an entire number? But that's my problem. So so the time management sigil actually really worked. As soon as I sat it sort of in that little gap between the laptop screen and the back of where the keyboard is, I was off. I finished 3 assignments in a week that were all due about the same time, and now they're only just beginning to get marked. That's how far ahead of time I ended up. And it made me want to do this 12 Days of Christmas thing as well, so I could get my craft stuff into gear. Get my craft ass into gear. And the second half of the video will come out on the 3rd day, which is Sigil Witchery and Wicca, and discussing how I think and how I plan to celebrate Christmas, or in sort of the Wicca pagan sort of belief system, Yule, which is actually celebrated around the time of my birthday, so I'm not too upset about that. but I will go into a lot more depth about sigil witchery and the Wicca that I plan to practice, and like discussing seriously how very nurturing and kind the Wicca religion is, and how people have definitely bastardized it over the years. For the fourth, I will be doing some wand crafting. So, this is a stick of a peach or nectarine tree that grew in the last town I was living in, and I put in some spack filler there. Spack filler is basically the stuff you'd use to fill in a crack in the wall and then paint over it. And I put it in this poor tree. I've probably done more harm to my poor baby than I have good. There is a fairly long wand. I plan to kind of just taper it because all this has been done by hand, and it was about this big. It had a good thick amount of bark on it. It was painful. So for that one, I will be sanding it, shaping it, of course, and also staining it. I might also consider cutting out this section to put resin in the future to make it look like there's a crystal in there. Perhaps try and find a crystal to uh, carve this out for. The fifth day of Christmas will be a practical gift for Pastel, also for myself, which will be a little communication sort of box for when we're not in a talking mood, or maybe we think we've upset the other person, we're not sure. Because we seem to have a lot of tension at times because she is very closed off to other people, and she's not closed minded, she just has a hard time talking to people. And so I think that would be helpful for her. So I'll just have some little flags or something to lift up so that we can go, okay, this person wants to talk, this person has left an answer. So that is definitely a practical thing, but at the same time, it's also going to be fun to craft it. The second practical gift will be sort of little sets of sigils for Pastel's family. So her mother, father, and two brothers currently living in the house. I'm thinking of also giving one to her sister. In that, I will also do. I will show you me creating the sigils. But the eighth day of Christmas is one will come to pretty soon. So the seventh day of Christmas will be a gift for myself solely, so not for anybody else, which will be the cover for my Book of Shadows, which is modeled on Hades and Persephone, the two the Greek goddess I've chosen to be sort of like my patron deities. Again, I'll explain that a lot more in the sigil wickery and Wicca misconception. Well, bleh, there's too many M's and W's. Fuck. So in the sigil wickery, I did it again. Can you believe it? In the sigil witchery and Wicca stuff, I will go into that in depth in the first part on the second day, just to really help you guys understand the path that I'm following in particular, the path that most other people follow, and I kind of want to put Hades at the front because I love that he named Cerberus Spot. If you look it up, someone mentioned this and I completely forgot that I knew. But Cerberus, his name within Greek can translate to spotted, which means Hades named his dog Spot, a three-headed giant demon dog called Spot. I love it. There's also some interesting parallels between Hades and Persephone and myself and Pastel and our families. I kind of see Pastel as Hades being sort of cloistered in and wanting to let people in, and I'm kind of like, I mean, look at what I wear. You saw what Pastel's wearing. She's like, she's very much an alt type of dresser, and me, I'm just like airy fairy which does suit Hades and Persephone quite a bit. 8 is wholesome Wicca, which will basically be sigils for other religions made simple. So I'm probably going to take, let's say, a symbol of protection. Let's say there's a particular phrase. You might want a sigil that says, do unto others. And because of the way that my version of sigil making works, I cannot include numbers, so I could do an entire Bible quote and create sigils for those. So if you would like to see those, please leave a quote from your religion and the name of the religion down below. It could be a Middle Eastern, it could be Asian, it could be some form of Christianity, it could be Catholicism. Uh, you could be Wicca as well, and there might be a particular thing that your chosen deity has said. Uh, Ancient Egyptian, like, go for it. Tell me something weird and wonderful you want to see as a sigil, and I will make it using my style. And the wholesome Wicca, I will show you my style so you can understand that I don't sit there and go, "Ooh, Satan." I mean, when you're trying to be evil, you can't just go, I call Satan to help me draw lines. But you know what I mean, like, that's not how it works. Calm down, honey. Day 9, I'll make handmade cards. Oh, fuck. That's not what you say after yawning, is it? Sorry. On day 9, I'm gonna do handmade cards for my aunts, uncles, cousins. Asked my dad to send up the set of cocktail mixers in a box about this big that I never took with me. Oh dear, that's gonna be fun. And speaking of Daddy Dearest, uh, so this is a heads up for Dad. Do not watch the 10th day of Christmas. That is a huge spoiler for you for your prank gifts, which are, since I can't spoil it, are some are naughty, some are nice. Like, some are bad, some are good. The 11th day will be me probably sitting with pastel wrapping presents, or sitting out here on the shed floor wrapping presents. There is a table here, but it's a bit messy. Well, that's okay. You're allowed to be messy when you're doing arts and crafts and wrapping shit. That's fine. Um, so with Dad's stuff, it's gonna be in some containers and a bag as well. I want him to open it, not on anything inside, like outside, straight up outside, at least outside. Um, because if I decide to go ahead with some of the slightly more dastardly plans, um, he's not gonna want to ruin the house of the people who are there. But I sincerely hope that he is at. Sorry, as I was saying, I'd rather do the dastardly pranks at my younger aunt's place because I think she'd enjoy that quite a bit. Um, I just think also with, like, a little bub in my cousin's tummy, I don't think she wants to have the stress of going, there's XYZ all over the floor, or what's that smell? To me, it feels like it would be a bad idea for her family, well, that part of the family, to be there to see it because it might, like, do something. I don't want to scare a pregnant lady. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not a favoritism thing. I'm just considering um my cousin and a baby's health first and foremost. So, Dad, please don't watch the 10th video and make sure you open it at you know whose place. I'm not using names for the moment unless I get the permission of my aunts and uncles. Um, so, oh, so I tore the page. So I won't do that right now. And the 12th, of course, is my favorite. It is the 12 Days of Christmas song, or Partridge in a Pear Tree, but I've changed the lyrics. I talk about 3 or 4 different YouTube communities, particularly the guy that did the Yo Mama videos, and they were really weird cartoons, and he sounded like Patrick Warburton. You guys know which channel I'm talking about. But you know what? I'm in a good mood, so I'm just gonna keep this rolling, and I'm gonna do the next intro for the next video. So, with that, have a lovely Christmas. Welcome to the series, and I hope you'll all at least watch them through, like or dislike. That's fair enough. But this is just in the name of getting rid of misinformation, spreading a bit of joy in the holiday season for people regardless of their religion or their beliefs or their particular credos, even if that's just do unto others, because I personally think that that is what Wicca promotes, just like Christianity, and that's what a lot of religions try to tell us to do. So go show someone some human decency, bit of kindness, bit of compassion, and have a lovely Christmas.